All right. And for those of you who are watching, hello, good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. It's 12:01 now. I'm Michelle Casada here in the WPTV newsroom. And today we are talking about struggling for-profit businesses and nonprofit businesses and where they can find help. And so, Libby, I may mispronounce your last name.
Libby Hyken.
And Libby's here. She is the creator, the founder of grantwatch.com. And this is a website that anyone, any business, not-profit can access anywhere in the US, right, Libby?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of how you got started in this.
Well, I just want to acknowledge that today is a pretty serious day for me. It is the Jewish holiday of Tisha B'Av. It's a day of mourning. And it's very appropriate to be on this channel today because what we're talking about is recovery and finding comfort after what we've all been through and how we're going to grow and move forward for this. And Tisha B'Av is the day when the Holy Temple in Jerusalem was destroyed. And we all go to the Western Wall, which we call the Wailing Wall. All of the world goes there to pray. And this is that day when it was destroyed. And tomorrow we get up and we look for comfort and we start rebuilding and we move forward in our lives. And that's what we need to do here in Florida and all over the world. And so Grant Watch was here before COVID and it's going to be here after COVID. But right now we're here to help you. And so we have the grants. I was just talking to you earlier. We have a complete division just for COVID-19 grants. And right now the count is 1,045 that we've put up.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Libby. And I know that you're very passionate about helping businesses and nonprofit businesses as well. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the grant process. What were you doing at the time?
Well, I was teaching in Canarsie, Brooklyn for the New York City Department of Education. I was a special education teacher at that time. I realized, and this goes back to 1984, or maybe even earlier, I realized that if I would take my class into the computer room, maybe I could teach them written communication skills because at that point, if I made a correction on a paper, it was sort of crumbled up and thrown at me. I had a class of 10, at that time, now they're called, well, when I left, they were called Ms. 2, that kind of class. It was classes for emotionally handicapped. That was the term in those days. And of course, politically correctness, I'm sure it's different today. But when I went to my principal and I said, can I bring them into the computer room? Can I teach them word processing? I just heard about it. He said, well, Libby, nobody's going to take your class. So you have to learn enough to take them in. So I started teaching myself computers at that point. Found out that the old Tandy model, Radio Shack Model 4 computers could not handle word processing. So there I was. I had this great idea. My special ed supervisor, at that point, money was being thrown at special education. And he said, Libby, give me a list of what you need. Let's see, I'll go to the school district. We'll see if we can have it. And he went and they said, we spent all the money. We don't have it. This was Community School District 18 at the time. So what happened was the superintendent said, or I think it was the deputy superintendent at that point, she said, if Libby wants, she can come every day after school. There is actually a grant from Tandy to show how the Model 100 could be used in the classroom in an educational environment. The Model 100 was, maybe it was about a foot in total. It was one of the first iPads, if you think about it. It had a little screen about 4 inches and a keyboard. And you could then do word processing. The screen was green. And you'd have to hook it up to a dot matrix computer and print out. Well, I wrote the grant, only 4 in the United States. We won.
Wow.
That was the beginning. And eventually I wrote a Commodore 64 matching grant. And this is all while I was teaching special education. Then I was invited to become a magnet school teacher for careers in computers. And it goes on, and I'm sure everybody can read about it on our website.
And so you became very passionate about grants and finding grants at the time. Was there a point where you decided, I can help other people find these grants. I can help other people find a way to get money for their organizations.
Well, what happened was the school district invited me to come and work at the school district and write grants for them. And they took me out of the classroom for 2 years. I won $11 million. The superintendent used to say, "Touch Libby, she has the Midas touch." So, as a matter of fact, when I had gone to Vegas at one point, and that was the machine, and I won. I had to find that machine. But anyways, it went further and further, and I, at some point, moved to Staten Island. I was back in the classroom. I moved to Staten Island, and I opened up my own grant writing business. Well, I opened my grant writing business in Brooklyn, and then I moved it to Staten Island. And it went from there. It went from grant writing to then my clients wanted to know what grants are available. And at that point, we were using the fax machine to do a broadcast fax. So I started nycgrantswatch.com, and that was a fax. And then when I retired from teaching, I knew the technology was there because I had been teaching computers on and off, and I started building the website. And we started with NYC Grants. And then we moved to New York State, we moved to the tri-state area, and we went further all across the United States. And now I live in Florida.
Incredible. So how long has grantwatch.com, and for those of you who are just joining, we're talking about this website because it has really helped a lot of our local nonprofit organizations find grants and find funding during COVID-19. We know that a lot of the funding started to run dry in March. Many businesses, many organizations have faced uncertain times. And so there is a website, and Libby is the founder of the website that lists grants and even by state, if you want to search for just your state, by topic, if you want to search for just coronavirus, or if you want to search for social injustice, all these different types of grant that your businesses, your nonprofit organizations can take advantage of. So Libby, when did Grant Watch begin? And tell us a little bit about the layout of the website. How can anyone access it?
Oh, okay. So we started in 2010, and we've been accumulating grants ever since. What you would do is just go to grantwatch.com, and there's a search bar right there in the center. Very simply, underneath that search bar, that's the easiest way to get in. You can click, it depends, who are you? Are you a nonprofit organization? Are you a small business, or are you an individual? So that's where you would go and click, and then you'll be on a very easy search page. Another way is on the navigation bar, there's a search for a grant button. Go there. And then you can have an exact phrase. You can have just one word, but if you want the phrase, you can click that and search that way. So there's many ways. There's on the right side, you have a list of all our categories. On the navigation bar, you have a place to change your location. It's very important to subscribe. That will get you the newsletter. And then if you want to see more, you need to be a paid member.
And what is that fee like? Are there any services for those who want to just kind of browse and see if there's a grant that fits them? When do you have to start paying a subscription?
So when you subscribe just to get the newsletter, you have the newsletter, but when you click, you can't go any further. There's like a paywall. We keep the price very low. It's $18 a week, $45 a month, $90 for 3 months, or $199 for a year. You can never pay an employee $199 for the entire week. And what you get every single day, we add new grants. Not every single day, we add new grants Sunday through Thursday. And every day we archive the website. So old grants fall off, new ones come in. Philanthropists, government agencies, foundations, there's a list of grant button in the navigation bar. Please use it. Tell us about your grant or send us an email, and we will put your grant up as well. But we have a very wide research staff that's doing the work for us. And we check the grants when they expire. We want to know when they're coming back. So we're constantly in touch with the foundations as well and government agencies.
And these are grants that, businesses can search for very specific things. Like I saw on their businesses owned by women can find certain grants that are tailored to them. Talk a little bit about how there's something in there for every kind of business.
Well, I wanted to say something. You cannot go to GrantWatch and approach it with, I want a grant for $100,000 or I want a grant for $50,000. Start looking and apply, even if it's a small grant, apply for it. Build yourself up, because when you go for a $100,000 grant, you want to be able to show the funding source. Hey, we've managed all this money before. We've had grants from these different places. So that's one way. But the women in business, we have, of course, the recipient business, so that if you went from the homepage, you could get there. And then you would then choose your categories. But we also have a women category itself where you can look.
Great. And what do the grants? I'm sure there's a range of different variety of grants for what kind of money can these businesses be seeing with grants?
You could see in-kind grants where where somebody's going to give you services. You can see a grant for $500. You can see a grant for $2 million. It really depends what's available and what's out there. We put them up and we hold nothing back. So if it's there, and we find it, it's going up.
Wow. And, what have you seen are the grants that are really a huge need right now? What are businesses searching for the most, or nonprofits?
They're really searching to keep their businesses going at this point. And I think that a message I would have for everyone is, sometimes you have to you can't just keep doing the same thing if the world changes. You have to retrofit yourself somehow. You have to fit into it. We closed our office and everybody's working remotely. That was what we had to do. We've brought on certain programs and things to evaluate the website. We're making as many changes as we can to deal with what's going on in the world. And any business that exists has to do the same.
Absolutely. And I just talked to a local business today, a nonprofit, the T. Leroy Jefferson Medical Society, and they use your website all the time. They've been able to find grants on there as well. And one of the things that really struck me that the executive director said was that, there are so many issues that are still going on in our communities during a pandemic that people don't think about, that we still need funding for. And so they were able to find a grant to help them continue education in the opioid crisis. And that's something that's kind of like, for a lot of places, maybe the way they did things before, face-to-face interaction, face-to-face education is not possible anymore. So now they have to find grants that can continue to allow them to use the money in other ways. Have you seen a lot of need for operating costs? I know a lot of businesses and nonprofits are just struggling to continue to operate in many cases.
Right. So general operating costs, we're finding them as well. Everybody's trying to help everyone right now. What we're trying to see is, can we change the way people are and gain more respect towards each other, more fondness? Can we do more for each other? And if you're a philanthropist and you have funding, you want to give, and you don't want to go through the whole problem of people contacting you, whatever, call us. We'll help you put the grant together. We have a partner right now that actually does that. And we will help you get it up there and weed through the applicants. But let's get the money, let's give out, let's help people as much as we can. GrantWatch, also we get calls and people say, listen, I really need a grant and I can't afford your subscription fee. What can I do? So we created something else. We have a website called youhelp.com, which is a crowdfunding website. So if somebody goes to YouHelp and donates $5 to any campaign that they want, they get a thank you with a 1-day free pass on GrantWatch. So we're helping everybody pay it forward.
Oh, that's incredible. So they can use YouHelp, and just a simple donation would give them some time to be able to work on the GrantWatch website and see if there's something out there for them. Typically, Libby, once somebody finds, let's say they're searching through your website, they subscribed, they find a grant that is perfect for them, and they start the grant writing process. Do you know what that process is like after that, once they find the grant? Or is that more so like they're working directly with the company now that listed the grant after that?
Well, we have grantwriterteam.com. So when you're a paid subscriber and you found a grant, you can click, I need a grant writer, and it'll take you right there. And then you could put up a request for a grant writer. We give $50 to publicize their request, and we keep them anonymous. And then the grant writers who are on our team, they're contractors, they will bid on the job. And once they accept them, they'll be in contact. We're sort of off of it at that point, unless there's a complaint. Then we step in, but meanwhile, the interaction is between the grant writer and the grant seeker.
So it's pretty much full service
Oh,
based
yes.
site.
That's
And
what we,
and talk about the different categories that you have on there, because I know when I just went on trying to go on and search for Florida, I saw lots of categories: aging, children, COVID, very different.
and education. That's one thing I wanted to bring up today. Teachers that are teaching remotely, they've had to purchase their own equipment. And that's where the schools could go and look under technology, look under education, and start to apply for grants and give this out to the people that are the teachers that are working from home. It shouldn't really be an obligation of a teacher. I mean, I taught for so many years, and I don't think that teachers should have to do that. They could sign out for the equipment and return it when it's done.
That's incredible. So there is something on there for everyone, for even individuals.
We go from research to business to education, arts and culture. It's all there. Substance abuse. I mean, you can look down the list. I can't go to my website right now because I'll lose the screen. So,
All right. I really appreciate answering our questions. I see that there's a pretty good Facebook following right now. I haven't seen any questions, but a lot of people tagging other people. So that means that maybe the person they tagged will have an interest in this and be able to come back and watch it. So anything else we should know about grantwatch.com and how to use the website? I know that this is available. There's grants for several states, not just Florida. So if you're watching this from somewhere else, you can find something in your state as well.
We go international: Israel, Canada, the United States, the provinces, the territories. It's all there. What I want to do is give a shout out to my staff, because I have the best customer support team possible. During COVID, I tried to contact other websites and I get, well, we have a 2-week delay. My staff is working and they're there. You can reach them by chat. You can text the phone, 561-249-1429. You can call us. You can email support@grantwatch.com. We're here to help you. Sometimes my staff can't sleep at night. They hear such sad stories, but we're here and we're trying to help everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Libby. It was so nice to meet you. And we will be airing this story also later on today on Channel 5. So be on the lookout for it.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.